Hola, welcome to my latest astrological broadcast for the Mayan Trecena of Imox and any of the significant astrological events that are taking place during this 13-day cycle. I had planned, as usual, to have everything synchronistic and get this video done yesterday. As happened the last Trecena, I just had to go with the flow and meet the responsibilities of whatever I was called and wherever I was called to be, and I didn't even get a chance to post yesterday's final posting because today is like the resetting of a new Mayan year. It's the first day of the first sign in the the cosmogenesis, the cosmovision of the 20 day signs that make up the full 260 day cycle of the Mayan calendar, of the main cycle of the 20 signs repeating themselves. So that means the last 13 days would have been coming to the completion, and the Trecena of Anil, which represents maturity and ripening, is there for a reason. It represents that seeing as best as possible out the potentialities of the dreams that we've been trying to bring to fruition, and sometimes these dreams don't come to realization, as we know. So yesterday I had planned to see the final part of that Trecena offered in a posting, and I may very well get around to doing that retrospectively, but what I realized was in my own work, in my own processing, that I too, like everybody else, have to assess and adjust as we go. So I was realizing that was taking place, and my own healing was involved as ever, and I was grateful for that. So today I was looking forward to a lot, with the perspective of seeing more positivity that we can really birth from this really challenging time. And we keep a brave face as much as we can, particularly for others, which is a wonderful human attribute. But we have to face the harsh reality of a global shift that many are not prepared for, and for some of us are a little bit more prepared than others. Even though we don't really know what's coming in truth, we can look at the forecast energetically from the astral and see what is influencing. And in this Trecena, last Trecena, there was so many shifts astrally that it didn't surprise me to see that it'd be one of quite great intensity and also great opportunity for release, in tandem with a Scorpio full moon that represented meeting the struggle of all this pent up energy that for most of us doesn't have a great deal of outlet. So if anyone's been experiencing that or is continuing to experience that, then realize that the release energy of a Scorpio moon, which is around sacred energy, sacred sexual energy, like the yang chi force, if it's not got a lot of direction, then it can cause great suffering, but also great transmutation. And what's on offer with this next Trecena that we're in from today is reweaving a dream. There's no end, there's no beginning, but when we get reset switches, when we get opportunities to re-acclimatize ourselves to the energetic conditions of whatever we're facing, we should take them wholesomely and see what we can do to fix, heal, bring a better understanding to how we can improve our processes on Earth as individuals and as a collective. So emotion, like the word emotion, is connected to water, and for me emotion has got very strong Piscean energies, because emotion is the unbirthed universe. It's the womb, like the egg, the Orphic egg of creation before anything is created. So it's a fantastic opportunity to really dig into ourselves, and in tandem with this Scorpio moon that's releasing, and the moon transiting Aquarius as we speak, which is right on cue for me, and what I love to share is the resident energy of the Piscean age we're in as a species, but the incumbent vibration of Aquarius that we're birthing into, and that's gone, as any age shift happens, it's got its growing pains. We've certainly got pretty particular challenges to meet in this one, but there are intelligences there that can help us really understand the nature of that change. And Mother Nature is connected to emotion. It's the womb, it's the creation that we can bring forward. It's a new dream. And for me, my strong life calling is the assistance of our species and coming into better understanding about what shifting from one vibratory age into another means. And that's what I'm carrying forward into Imox, with the last 2 days not quite going as I would have planned, but I see the gift and I see the benefit and the wisdom and the education in there. So today, just like yesterday, we had a retrograde with Venus retrograding on the last day of divinity of 13 Achhu, you know, gave me great insight into what the goddess, the great provider of all the abundance we have on earth, from the astral, from the star realm, from the universe, but translated down from the universe into earth, into us. And we're birthed from that goddess energy as we're birthed from the earth herself. It's like, what is Venus as a guiding force, as a feminine, sacred, sexual, feminine force trying to offer us and teach us? And her retrograde period takes 40 days, and that happened yesterday. And 40 days, possibly 40 nights, refers to the quarantine that we're in, funnily enough, because the word quarantine means 40, 4 times 10. And it's the exact same period that Venus goes into this real personal journey of transformation, like a butterfly goes into the chrysalis to return as a caterpillar returning as a butterfly. So this 40 days, we've got a great opportunity to look at the astrological trigger points and see what's happening, so that we can alchemize with them, with the shifting. And that's what I love to do, is to find the keys. And there are only 3 big shifts that are taking place during these 13 days, and it's enough, because what's already taken place in the last few days, bringing us into deep retrograde season, is reflection time. But not just reflection in complete stillness, it's reflection in transformation, so that we can emerge ready and prepared to ride those winds like a butterfly does. And you know, just like a butterfly's spin, its little breath of air can create great change. If you want to follow the euphemism of a little breath, a little wing beat can create a storm. So even the littlest transformations we go through during this time can bring us into great awakening and realization of our purpose. And that's what I'd like to offer, and see if this resonates in any way for you. So what I've decided and what I've realized during my time leading up to being at the lake and the journey that's brought me here is some parts of that dream just need to dissolve and decay and die. Add fodder and fuel to rebirthing, using that energy wisely to, you know, as that pain, as that loss is incurred, to let that fuel teach me about perhaps how and why that occurred. And Jupiter is retrograding today, just as Venus retrograde. They're the benefics. Jupiter is the greater benefic. He's Zeus, Thor, that gives that real fire fuel of energy for the expansion of the dreams that we want to create. So him retrograding today at 27 degrees Capricorn, which is right on the it's on the nodal point. It's on the south node of Capricorn. So there's a lot of shape shifting around karma, and a lot of shape shifting around how our society has become what it is and developed in natural circumstances. I always state it's not a propensity for blame, but we have to take responsibility where we can and see what tools are available for learning, studying, and making our lives more cohesive with Mother Nature here on Earth and with the astral realm. So we realize our situation, our fulcrum tipping point, is always between the two, and there's great intelligence and great wisdom in both. So Jupiter retrograding today brings that flavor for the next 13 days of the Trecena, and also the flavor of what we're going to experience for 40 days with Venus retrograde. It's a great focus on what we want, and what's important for us to realize and what we want is the nature from a soul perspective. What really lights our fire. And I can be quite fervent and firm with my kech nature, which is like the voice of the wilderness, of the stag. And it can be stubborn, but I've realized that there is great wisdom in the journey that I've gone on, and how I share that then is key. It's important for us to realize what works for us, because when we are functional with our needs and our satisfied aspects of life being met, we're far more beneficial to others and authentic with it as well. And this shape-shifting with Jupiter retrograding off the back of Venus is no accident. There are none. I mean, all of these significant changes take place with astrological precision. It's like the great manifest engine of creation. It's God through the goddess, the birthing channel of creation. And God is everything. It's whatever you feel it is, but for me, it is everything that's created. It's the allness, it's the dark, the light, the pettiness, the grandiose nature of life. So Jupiter's retrograding is going to be retrograding with Pluto retrograde, and there's going to be a lot of niggles, things that just won't go away until they're met. And they represent positive tensions that are activating us to refocus on what's important for us individually. And that's like a call into sovereignty. And sovereignty made simple is just knowing what we're about, that no other being can influence independent of the graciousness of opinion and the graciousness of others' insight, which are important because we're here in a relative experience as well. But more importantly is just knowing what dream we're looking to birth and bring into life. And once we get that, I mean, this is what's really important, is because we can get caught up in society's dreams or other people's ideas of our dreams, but once we can amalgamate that dream structure within ourselves and then share it with others that resonate, and that's really what happens. And some dreams, on a grandiose scale, as you go up the layers of divination, were always designed to only run a certain amount of time. And we have to learn that there's a greater picture unfolding. So Jupiter retrograding is going to teach us about that greater picture without the expansive energy, and that condensing energy coming into ourselves with Venus, the goddess of fruit, of the fruits of life and of abundance and sacred sexuality, and the nature of tenderness and sensuality and feeling our sensual life. What we eat, what we see, what we feel, what we taste, what we touch. And coming back into feeling where we are right now in terms of a lot of those senses being denied on a grand expansive scale. But where do we have access to that ourselves in our shorter reach out? And like today's shift with Jupiter brings us into the context of the next big shift on the 20th, which is in 7 Kech, which is my sign. And 7 is like the top of the pyramid. It's like the culmination of all of the opportunities and the choices that we can make from having that higher perspective of observation. It's the last number in the cycle before Kech is reborn as 1 Kech 20 days later. So it's a type of ending, but we have got to make choices. And like on the 7th day, it's the middle point of the Trecena, and the sun enters Gemini on that day. And curious, we're in Taurus at the moment, so values around Venus are going to be very prevalent for the next 40 days. And that retrograde period is going to carry those Taurian, what are my needs? What foods do I need? What sexual connection do I need with others? How are my tensions going to release? Where do I supercharge my energies to rebirth a new dream, that emotion style dream? How am I emotionally connected to that? Because what we seed is our vision. It's that fire energy, and it's important to realize that if certain visions just haven't worked out, it's time to rebuild a new one. And the sun entering Gemini will bring us into that curiosity, of life, where the duality of the experience of what we're looking to create through others as well, through the art of communication. And we've got to be flexible with Venus retrograde there, because it's going to be about what we want. And then shape-shifting our direction. And with Venus retrograde, there's a very strong call to revisit old relationships and re-heal, and on a karmic level as well. We should always stay open to the opportunity of that, because there's a divine plan in place. There's a sacred path that we walk, and we're not meant to walk one of torture and constant suffering, because the healing happens through being curious and playful and flexible, and that's the quality of the sun in Gemini. So the Mayan energy of the day fused with that is, if we're stubborn in our nature like Kech is, and I can be from time to time, in saying no to what is divinely saying yes, for us to switch it up a gear into meeting that astral, that spirit intelligence, is so important to realize, when sometimes we're just better off using that determination without stubbornness, but going in the direction that flows rather than creating further crisis and conflict. And with Mars in Pisces as well, just having moved in there since yesterday, Mars struggles in Pisces if he hasn't got a direction. So it's a good time to tune into that 7 Kech energy and see what energy determines us to head in that direction without being stubborn, because the emotion energy of Pisces with Mars there means that there needs to be a certain kind of direction. And if we're taking sacred authority, sacred direction, then that really helps a lot. You know, and finding ways to listen to the voice of nature as well, the clues, the insights that are symbiotic with a sustainable Earth, but also symbiotic with 7 being the relative number of stability in the Trecena, but also the sign of relationship and magic. And when we can find relationship with ourselves and relationship with others that really works, we should honor that, follow that flow. It might meet a lot of resistance in those who would say otherwise, but we're the ones that have to find that dream first, and that inner authority to make that happen, and find those others who celebrate that dream coming alive. Mercury in Gemini and the North Node in Gemini, with the Sun coming into Gemini and Venus retrograde in Gemini, means there's a massive focus on Gemini for the next month. It's huge. If you've got a lot of energy in Gemini, if you've got a lot of third house, a lot of mercurial energy, be prepared to see shifting, in your life around communication and what it is that at a heart level you're looking for as you explore, because your our belief structures are going to be called into question. We're going to be looking for the facts of how we feel, what our faith, the direction we move in should always be based on a logical, synergetic connection to our emotions and also to our philosophical, more higher-minded self. But to question our philosophies and move in that direction that works. That's the 20th, and on the 22nd, which is the last real significant shift and change, on 9 Toch, we have the new moon in Gemini at 2 degrees. And that's happening with a trine to Saturn, Jupiter and Pluto. And with that shifting taking place, you've got the Sun and the Moon in Gemini at that time. It's a massive focus on communication, about what's near and dear to us. But with all the retrograde energy, there's going to be a shape-shifting and heading in a direction again to revisit the past, where we made changes while everything was moving forward. And anything that moves forward with way too much energy can be like a cancer to us. It's like it's too energetic, it's too rambunctious. It's like coming back into reflection, it's coming back into the feeling side of things, slowing things down, and then things will speed up as the planets come back out of retrograde again, little by little. But expect changes, positive shifts around relationships, with Venus in there, it'll be matters of the heart, Taurian, physical earth-bound relationships. This shifting is taking place with the Sun, or soul energy, in Taurus. So Venus is also going to be conjunct Mercury at 20 degrees when we have that energy of 9 Toch on the new moon. So Toch represents the sacred fires and also repayment. The energy that we use for making repayment is like the circle of life, the flow of life, and 9 is connected to the divine feminine. The number of months that the baby gestates, it's the number of months that it takes maize to grow, that the cosmology of mind synergetics is created from. So we're weaving, and I work with these technologies as well as hermetics and various other ways to divine and get insights, to get aspects and information of tools that can be used to assist us in birthing a new dream, a new age, a new frequency that has sustainability on the earth, that is an all-encompassing viewpoint of the local mechanics of how our society works, i.e. ourselves, our family, our society, but knowing that we have different community and societal structures across the world that all function off the same basic principles. We need food, water, security and shelter. And we live in a complete disaster zone of an earth sometimes with the amount of war and atrocity we purport on others because of division, greed, a culture of moreness. Well, look at where more, the demand for more. We've all done it, I've been there too. It's like I'm not pointing fingers at people, but I've looked at myself and I found a success in, though at times it can be a struggle, you know, I would like to have more security or more of this, but it's what is a healthy need unmet that we just need to find other ways? What is a healthy want unmet where we just need to learn to let go? And what are healthy unmet needs that we're not facilitating? And that's the big question to ask is, what do we need to let go of to acclimatize and reclaim our sovereignty as soul beings, where our own inner radiant light can connect to source, can connect to the ancient tradition of knowing that spirit isn't just some euphemistic way of trying to understand you. We are created from spirit. Spirit is spiritu. It's the spiral. It's the kundalini. It's the fire. It's the very nature of creation. It's the way energy moves. And, you know, like today is happening with Jupiter retrograding, squaring the Aquarian moon. So the theme of Aquarius from an emotional, from the divine feminine is really on clock. And also the moon represents the past and as she's releasing. With Saturn retrograding in Aquarius and stepping back out over the course of the next few weeks back into Capricorn, there's going to be a revisitation of the societal structure we've created. And also there's going to be an examination of how we can work together and make better solution orientated changes as we move forward. And we've got to learn to say, when have we had enough of being dissatisfied with our choices and return to satisfaction, you know? Come into that contraction where we question our faith and our belief structures. And from there, that deeper inner sense of honesty doesn't mean that we're going to meet niceness, we're going to meet favorable, emotional or non-erratic states of being. We're going to meet some shit. We're going to meet some real tough energies that have to take a head-shaking agreeability to, okay, this is just the way it is. And from there, then we can make choices that are healthy for us and activate that inner warrior instead of the inner worrier. You know, listen to the worry, the concerns, and if it's just not working, how many weeks and months and years, lifetimes have we been running these same programs? It's time to reprogram. And Aquarius has got a strong connection to reprogramming because it's a sign of technology. And our slavehood to technology has caused a lot of problems at times, though right now we have a virtual world that keeps us connected, which is a beautiful thing. So we have to find that balance between knowing what's gone too far, that needs to be pulled back in, our over-identification with external solutions. The more stillness we have, the more focus we have on the higher vibration energies that give us more, than the less dense that we put so much pressure on our physical goddess world, our earth world, that Venus as a goddess herself energetically manifests in us, can only provide so much of before it just becomes toxic, like the child that can't get enough. Child needs to step into maturity, and we did that in the last 13 days in Anil. This is where we get to see the shape-shifting we've made and edged ourselves into another form of maturity and birth a new dream. Like really energize, take the old, look at what we got, shed what doesn't need to stay, things, relationships, demands, dynamics of expectancy, and look at what we got and work from there. Work from a place of, this is what I got, this can fit the new picture going forward, this just really doesn't do it anymore. It could be an emotional attachment, physical need unmet or overmet, relationships that just we try so hard to make work but don't, no matter how hard we try, because of loyalties. And it's okay to have loyalties, but we just need to shapeshift and augment our relationship dynamics close to home first, and then expand from there and see where we can develop more healthy communications. And that's the energy of Gemini as well. So let's learn to communicate and figure out and talk to those that we've built up blockages and bridges burnt because, you know, we got wounded in the past, or, you know, we just couldn't handle the energy, and it's all okay. I mean, we're all human and limited to, we're limited by the hand of the divine. You know, there's a sacred intelligence that created this universe, that we are just little tiny minnows in the proportionality of it all. But we're beautiful minnows. We're beautiful crystalline shards of consciousness seeking to explore. And Jupiter retrograding is putting a bit of a tension point on what we want to explore, but the tension point is to go within, just like Venus retrograding, go within. Like for me, I'm spending a bit more time now on building my body up and spending more time meditating and redesigning. Like, I'm going to be pulling back on my astrology a bit. I'm going to share like videos on particular important points, like the next new moon I'll share a video. It's the plan anyway. And the next Trecena. And I'll share small little brief Instagram sharings that you can follow me at Jericho Phoenix on Instagram, on WordPress, Jericho Phoenix, that's Jericho, Jeriko. And it gives me free time then to invest into the other things that I love, that I've been neglecting for a while as well, like my music and other people who are calling for my attention, other beautiful souls. So yeah, it's time to reevaluate, redesign, and dream a new dream. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, and that's about information technology. And information technology for me is about the information about the technology of one another. This amazing genetic coded being that was created by the universe, an intelligent universe. So I encourage us all to find ways to explore through others who do exploring. And if anyone's interested, like I said, to do more personal work, I am available, and I have more time available now to, I'm freeing up that space and time to address a new vibration, a new buzz. All right. So sending you lots of love from Lake Atitlan. Big shout out to everyone who knows me out in the world, and yeah, let's stick to our goals. Stick to the ones that really resonate with us, and shapeshift, dissolve, cut, release with great love that which does not serve the vision that we're looking to birth individually and collectively. So look to your other togethernesses, yeah, and fuse for a direction that can see a world free from starvation, free from war, or at least the elimination of an inaccessibility for those who really need it the most. And we all do. We're all feeling a pinch right now. So yeah, let's pinch together. Let's make this work. Okay, much love. Love you all. Ciao.